Again, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, with Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. We bear witness, or I bear witness, that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad, to whom the Quran is revealed, is his slave, servant, and messenger. We give the honorable salutations of Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and what follows of that excellent salutation. We greet you all with the greetings of peace, of Assalamu Alaikum. We are going to just kind of jump right into the topic that we sent. But before I get into the topic, I do want to just say thank you all for being on, and those of you who are listening, thank you for giving your time and your attention to hear what we have to say. And inshallah, Allah willing, we will be brief, but we do want to share in line with our curriculum that we have set up throughout the month of Ramadan. I do want to say I'm praying and I'm hoping that everyone so far has benefited from their Ramadan fasting. We are now this is the fourth day of fasting. We started fasting Thursday, and I want to be clear on this. The Ramadan started Wednesday night. I know there was, I'm sorry, not Wednesday, Wednesday night. The Ramadan started Wednesday night. I know there's always some controversy, not really controversy, but discussion or disagreements as to its start. But, and just to clarify that so that we all know, and this is from the direct words of our prophet, we are not supposed to start our fasting, or we are not supposed to know that the month of Ramadan is to start until we see the moon, what is called the hilal. I'm sure you all know this. And really the hilal is really not the new moon. The new moon, you can't see the new moon. So the hilal is actually maybe around 15 or 16 hours after the new moon comes. It's the first sliver of the moon, the first sliver, and it should be this way. So you have to sight the moon. You have to see it. You have to sight the moon. That's when you know it's time for the month of Ramadan to start. You cannot say, well, it's there if it's not, even if you don't see it or whatever. You have to see it. You have to sight it. You have to see it. That's what Muhammad the Prophet said. You have to sight the moon. So that being said, we know that the month of Ramadan started Wednesday night. There's reports, confirmation. We got people that sent pictures when the moon has been sighted, and I saw those pictures. So we know that Thursday was the first day of fasting. So we fasted Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and today is Sunday, which is the fourth day. So I'm praying that our fasting, or that everyone's fasting, has been going well and good and great, and that people are in the spirit of the month of Ramadan, inshallah, if Allah wills that. So today, the main focus on today is what we call prayer. And there's a couple of different words for prayer, but today we're specifically focusing on the salat. There's dua, which is calling or supplication or asking of Allah, which is not established in terms of a group sense. All of us can make dua on our own. But the salat is group focused, and the salat is the obligation that we are supposed to have as a group. And we have 5 of those prayers, 5 of those salat, and we know them. Fajr, Dhuhr, not Zuhr, is Dhuhr, Th, Dhuhr. Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. Those are our 5 obligatory prayers. Everything else outside of those 5 are what we call sunnah practices. And then there are prayers that we say at other specific times. For example, we are in the month of Ramadan, and we say the Tarawih prayers. And then usually the Tarawih prayer, that's more correctly, Tarawih prayer is said in sets of twos. You say 2, rakat 1, rakat 2, and then after that you salam out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to the right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to the left. And that's 2. Most places may do a total of 8. And then there are some who do more than that. Okay? But they're always in sets of twos. It could be 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Some go up to 21. Okay. Now, here's the thing. You might say, well, we thought these are supposed to be in sets of twos. Why not 20? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, all the way up to 20. Usually, after the Tarawih prayers, is one rakat that is made that is called witr, W-I-T-R, witr. It's an odd, they say it's an odd number, but it's one rakat, and it will be said after your sets of twos. So some places are doing 8, and then they'll 8 rakats of Tarawih prayers, and then they're doing 1 rakat of witr, or they may go. And some of the masjids, they may complete throughout the Tarawih prayers, they might complete a whole juz, J-U-Z, which is a 30th of the Quran. And for some people, they can't stay that long, but many places they will do that. Okay? So we want to focus on the importance of prayer. Okay, so here's the deal. Here's my question. Here's my question, opening question, and this can be a rhetorical question, or you can answer it if we want to answer it. Question is, if Ramadan strengthens everything else, but not our prayer, have we truly grown? If Ramadan strengthens everything else, but not our prayer, have we truly grown? Or have we truly advanced or progressed during our fasting during the month of Ramadan? Okay? Now, just consider that. I mean, if we want to pause and answer, give some people some time to answer that. What do you guys think?
That's a good question. But have we truly grown? I don't know, because prayer is one of the most important things we should do besides fasting. I'm not really sure about it. I'm really not sure. Have we grown?
Sure. We were discussing this last night, and I'll apologize up front for those of you who are listening. We're gonna work around what we're working around here. I got a little 3-year-old over here that's pretty busy, so we listen, man. Being a dad all over again is a blessing. Alhamdulillah. But yeah, she over here. I know you all saw her in the pictures running around. It's like, well, I can't edit her out of there, so it is what it is. But the salat, the prayers that we're making or that we make, the intent is that we do our best to make those prayers when we can. Jamila asked this question yesterday. How can we go about making sure that we fulfill our prayers, the prayers that we have? Well, I mean, we have options. We can take certain prayers, our salat that we have to make, and we got this thing being shook in here. We can take our prayers and we can combine. We can combine Dhuhr and Maghrib. We can combine Dhuhr and Asr. We can combine Maghrib and Isha. There's no prayers that we can combine for the Fajr prayer, but the ideal is to make our intent on making the salat, and then we do what we can do to make the prayer or to make the salat. And if we can make them, great. If not, then we can combine and then make them at a later time. That's the hope. But back to that question: have we truly grown? If the month of Ramadan strengthens everything else. Now, I'm not going to answer that question. But I will say this: it's something that should be on our minds, and it definitely should be something that we have as an intent or an intention to complete. We know that there are always cases of people oversleeping, and in fact, we had cases where I'm sorry, give me just a moment. Someone is joining in. Okay. And in fact, we have cases where people have overslept and wasn't able to call the adhan correct in the time that was needed. So if a person misses their Fajr prayer in the morning time, then you can still make it. Okay? But what the ideal is this, to not belabor this, the ideal is this, that when it comes to our salat, we want to have a spirit to want to make it. That's the bottom line. You want to have a spirit to make it. If you ever get to the point where you just don't make it, or you don't care if you make it, then you definitely have growing to do. We definitely have growing to do. You should always want to make it.
Right.
Things should happen. Things may happen where you can't make it on time. And sometimes we might need that encouragement from someone to let us know that it's time to make the prayer. That's the benefit of having a Muslim husband or a Muslim wife, or if you don't, that's the benefit of being in an area where the adhan is called, so it's on your mind. Now we have phones, cell phones, and other devices that can actually call the adhan to kind of keep it on our minds, Right. Was Sister Mina, were you going to mention something?
I was just thinking when you was talking about that, I said maybe that's why Allah said for us to guard our prayers, because a lot of times we may not be able to make them on time.
Absolutely. And this is America. Some people may say America is not your home, but this is your home. You're not going back, as they used to say in the old lessons, you're not going back 9,000 miles. You can't go, we're not going back. And even if we said we were going to go back, it would take you a whole lifetime just to readjust to a different culture and climate, etc. So we're not leaving from the United States of America. And they others who are in government, they know this. So I'm saying that to say that America is not structured around the requirements of Islam and the dictates of Islam. However, America is one of those countries that allows you, if you choose, to establish your own life. So now at this particular point, and there was a time where people were much more physically restrictive when it came to the religion of Islam and outward practices or outward practicing. But that's changing. It has changed dramatically, not only in the United States of America, but it has changed dramatically throughout the world, where people are much more accepting and respectful. Not just accepting, but respectful of our religious practices. So if we choose to establish an Islamic life, we could do that. We might have some pushback. We might have some issues. But the onus at this point is on us. And that being said, and in this respect, I could be wrong, but I don't believe I am wrong. In that respect, I believe that many of our Muslim leaders in America, and many of our publics, but many of our leaders in the African American community and outside, we are more focused on getting numbers, getting a following, getting numbers, getting a following. So let's see who can have the most popular YouTube channel. Let's see who can have the most popular Facebook page. Let's see who can have the most popular Instagram or Twitter, or who can have the masjid that has the largest event that draws the biggest crowd. Is a masjid going to have 50 people, or are they going to have 500 people? We are largely focused on numbers and quantity, as opposed to quality. I do not believe that was the spirit of Muhammad the Prophet, to focus on the quantity more than the quality. For after all, Islam really starts with a small group of people. Muhammad, his wife Khadija, Ali, Abu Bakr, Bilal, a very small group. 5, some people say. So the idea is that when we are looking at the religion of Islam in America, we can establish, if we as a group, small body, locally or a large body, we can establish a real solid, dignified group. We could have it here in Milwaukee if that was the sincere interest of the Muslims in the city of Milwaukee. You ask me, I don't believe it is. And I would be willing to challenge any Muslim leader in the city of Milwaukee in regards to that. And many of them I know. I'm moving this thing here. Many of them we know, and we respect, and we value, and we love. But we haven't developed anything solid, because everyone is in their own little conclaves. Milwaukee, as they say, is the most segregated city in the United States of America. The Muslim community reflects that. That's a fact. The Muslim community reflects that. Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, Madison, you can go on and on and on. But I can just focus on the city of Milwaukee. All of that to say that we could, if we chose to, have territory or area where people could live, buy a home, buy land, buy property, hear the adhan called, and those who live in the area would have to respect that. They can get on Facebook and say whatever they want to say. You know, that Facebook and other social media outlets, that's the place where people who can't really get a voice have a voice. If you understand what I'm saying. It's usually those people who get chunked out of the arena of having a voice. It's usually those people who get chunked out of the arena of having a voice, and now they can go to a social media outlet and have a voice here. So not to discredit social media, because social media can be used as a very powerful tool. But my point is that at the end of the day, after all of the events, workshops, panel discussions, meetings, podcasts, videos, at the end of the day, I still got to go home to a community that is full of people who are not Muslim. And I still have to go to a community where if I call their adhan outside publicly, somebody might call law enforcement. Now, they may not do anything, but we don't have anything solid. Now, I'm saying all of that to say this. During the time of Muhammad the Prophet, they didn't have that either. I don't know if we think that the salat, the established salat, that it came right away as soon as Muhammad the Prophet was given the message. No. The salat did not get established until him and his companions left from Mecca and went to Medina. That was years after Muhammad the Prophet started was given his mission. So give yourself grace. If you don't give yourself grace, Allah is going to give us grace, because we don't have an established Muslim community life. We may want it, we may talk about it, but we don't. So the establishment of the salat is going to be at best incomplete, or at best in segments. Okay? At best in segments. Okay? We don't have it established here in Milwaukee at this facility, the 5 prayers. We should. There are other places that do, but the hope is that we establish the 5 prayer here, just like ISM Brookfield, just ISM Islamic Society of Milwaukee, ISM Islamic Society of Brookfield, Masjid Al-Rahman, Masjid Al-Huda, Masjid Al-Quran, Masjid Al-Nur, all of these different facilities and masjids that may have places where the prayer is established. But that is the hope. That is the hope. Okay. So reflection points here. I got 4 of them for reflection points, and then I'll pause for a moment. Here's the first one. First reflection point: salat is not optional. It is an anchor of our faith. Okay. Second thing, it is the first matter we will be questioned about. Salat. It's the first matter that we will be questioned about. Okay. Well, I got 3. I'll give the third one. Third one, it structures our day around keeping our mind focused on Allah. It structures our day on keeping our mind focused on Allah. Now, for those of you who've been Muslim for years and years, that muscle might be built up. That muscle might be strong already for you all. Right? I see Sister Ghani on here. I know she's been Muslim for a long time, and I know some others on here that's been born into a Muslim family and came in. Praise be to Allah. So maybe that muscle is strengthened more than other people. Okay? And that muscle in terms of keeping Allah on the mind. But in this society, there's so much that can take the mind away from God. Okay? So here, some other things I want to point out. One, some things that you can ask yourself. I guess I can say these would be my reflection points for you all. as opposed to the other three? You all can ask yourself this question. Same with those of you that are here. You can ask yourself this question. 1, do I pray on time? 2, when I pray, do I rush? Okay. 3, it came to my mind because I know I had this discussion with Imam Shahid Abdul Ghani about those who make the prayer and who rush their prayers. Okay. And we know that the practice of our Prophet Muhammad was that when he was making his salat, he would change the positions, and he would do it, and he would move when the bones was rested and not rushed. 3rd one, is my mind present when I'm not fasting, but when I'm making my salat? Is my mind present in what I'm doing, or is it on other things? I know we can make the salat, but is my mind on? I gotta do laundry. Is my mind on? I gotta cook dinner. Is my mind on? I gotta hurry up and get back to work. Is my mind on? I got my child I got my my child. I'm saying I got my child because I got my child over here that's making all this noise. Sit down. And here she goes. So all of those things can kind of take your mind. The 4th thing that you guys should think about: do I prepare for prayer, or do I just squeeze it in? Do I go from one meeting and then I squeeze it in and then I go to the next meeting? Okay. Those are just some reflection points when it comes to prayer. I'll repeat those real quick. 1, do I pray on time? Okay. And know that there's a grace period. There's not a specific set time. There's a grace period. 2, do I rush my prayer? Don't rush it. 3, is my mind present? When you're praying, making your salat, do your best to keep your mind on your relationship between you and Allah. 4, do I prepare for prayer, or am I just squeezing it in? Okay. Those are some things to just reflect on as reflection points here. Let me pause for a moment and see if there's anyone who has anything that they would like to interject or any comments that they would like to say. Anybody have anything that they would like to share at all? Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do find myself. First of all, assalamu alaikum. I can't.
Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah.
But sometimes I do. My mind seems to wander sometimes when I'm saying my prayer, and I hate that. So what do I need to do to make myself focus more?
Yeah,
because you're right, it does, and I don't want that. I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't know how to make that not happen.
Sure, I get it. The fact that you even mention it and that you recognize that is a step. So I would say that when you are making your salat and you recognize that, or you realize that, try to regain that consciousness. Try to regain your consciousness and focus on the words that you are saying. So if you're starting off by saying, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, focus on the words that you're saying. And so that if your mind goes to drift over here, perhaps we can get it back to the words that you're saying, and we can kind of focus on that and then continue on from there. And if it takes time, that's okay. Remember, intentions, niyyah. We talked about that on the second day. Actions are judged by intent. But I believe that if you do that over time, then your mind will begin to come in line with more with the salat that you're saying.
Right. And I do. And while we are talking about this, I do want to admit, yes, I do be late sometimes. But I think, how should I say this? I'm late sometimes, but I don't know. I'm late, but I'm thinking Allah is still gonna bless me even though I'm late.
Sure.
So,
You're talking about late with making different prayers or salat or things like that.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So is that not good, or I mean, as long as I'm making my prayers still, that's still good, right?
Yes. Don't. There's a hadith that I could report or that I could give that would support what I'm saying, and it basically is a report where a person is asking Allah for forgiveness, and then he goes on out and he commits more wrong, and then he comes back and he asks Allah for forgiveness, and then he goes out and he does something else that he wasn't intending on to do. These are things that he's doing that are wrong, but he's not intending on doing wrong. But he does something that is not right. It's not his intention. And it happens 3 or 4 times, and then at the end of the hadith, the report, it is reported that Allah says to this person, go on your own recognizance. Go on your own thinking. And it lends support to the idea that the person who was asking Allah for forgiveness did not have the spirit or the intent on doing wrong. So Allah knows this, and Allah forgave him and told him to go on. Now, I'm just assuming it was a him. They use these pronouns, him and her, what have you, But the point is, whether if it's male or female, that don't ever lose that spirit to want to make the prayer. Because if you do, that's where the problem comes in. And then there's another report that we mentioned before in the classroom, that if a person intends on doing right, but if a person intends on doing something good, but they can't get it done, they can't complete it, they still get the blessing for it. See? So if you are in a situation where you are moving around and you have to do what you have to do, then if you can, and this is best, if you can, make your prayer. But if you can't, and don't put yourself in harm's way, combine your prayers and say I'm at home. It's the same for me or anybody else. If I'm at a job, or if I'm at a whatever, and I don't want to be in a situation where I'm going to put myself in harm's way, either physically or someone questioning what I'm doing, then it's best to say your prayer, at home.
Right.
Years ago when people was during the 9/11, right after the Twin Towers was unfortunately destroyed, there were still many Muslims who were in their zeal saying that they were going to make their salat and their prayers still out in the public. And Imam Muhammad cautioned us about that. He cautioned us. Now, people in this association of Imam W.D. Muhammad, we follow Imam W.D. Muhammad, but some of us only to the extent that we can. But I remember specifically that he cautioned us and told us that we should not be having our prayers, our Eid prayers, out in the public, out in the open public. Not that we necessarily shouldn't, but the time was very sensitive, and you're setting yourself up for being harmed. Don't go out in the public or at these jobs or at these other places making your salat thinking that you are a better Muslim because you're going to make your prayer anyways, and someone come up behind you and hit you with a brick. Or you're at a job and then you're making your prayer, and then you end up getting terminated from that job. Now you've lost your $100,000 job when you could have made your salat at the house. Now, not only is it affecting you, it's affecting your children who are on your benefits and everybody else. So we have to be wise in terms of those things. He even went as far as to saying that if I was a woman, this is what he said. He said, if I was a woman, I wouldn't wear that the himar. that was at that time. That's what Imam Muhammad said. That's just wisdom. And I do want to interject this. The headpiece that women wear, that's not a hijab. That is a khimar. If you look in the Quran, the word for hijab is not even used as a head covering. But going back to the original point, he even said that if I was a woman, I wouldn't wear that in the public because it just draws too much attention. So I'm saying all of that to say that when it comes to us making our salat and making our prayer, we know that that is an obligation on us as Muslims. But we have to be wise about these things. The Quran says this in regards to making our prayer, or in regards to really anyone making prayer. When it came to the people of Musa, I believe it was, and the conditions was not right for the people who were following Moses, he said, this is in the Quran, tell them to make their homes their masjids. That's just wisdom. So yes, this is the month of Ramadan. Our salat is very important, but we have to be wise and use wisdom, and not to get taken to extremes by some of these other people, and they'll have you getting hit with a lawn chair upside your head, or a bat on your back or something like that, or you done lost your job, your financial income for you and your family, and the only thing you have to show for it was that I can say I'm a strong-hearted or zealous Muslim. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. So if you can make the best would be to make your salat with a group. If you have a family that you can make it with, make it. If you can make it at the masjid, you're in the area, that is awesome. If not, then make it at home in areas that is safe and clean. That is the best way to do it. But never, never, never get to a spirit where we just know that it's time for the salat and we just say, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, we never want to get to that point. Here's another statement, and I know we're nearing on our time here. Another statement that I want to give. One, Ramadan, and I'm sure we all know this, the fasting during the month of Ramadan does not replace the 5 prayers. It actually strengthens them. The month of Ramadan. Our prayer, our salat. If you have not looked up how prayer is addressed in the Quran, almost in every situation, I'm sorry, I got my hands in front of my face here. In most situations where the word salat is used in the Quran, it is almost always, not always, but almost always used in connection with the word zakat. Salat and zakat. Almost always used in connection. But the one comes before the other. You never see in the Quran where Allah speaks of these two that are connected, where zakat is first and then salat is second. Salat is second first and then zakat is second. God says in the Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif Lam Mim. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. صدق الله العظيم. Right away in the beginning of the Quran, God is making connections for us. One, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, then Alif Lam Mim. Now we can discuss what that means later on, but there is meaning to it. That is the book. There is no doubt. It's guidance, sure, and there's no doubt in it to those who are conscious, those who have taqwa, those who are morally rationally conscious of their responsibility to God. And it also goes on to say, who believe in the unseen and have established prayer and spend out of what we have provided for them. Okay? And spend out of what we have provided for them. So right away, in the very beginning of the Quran, God tells us, or gives us the focus, the Quran. God tells us that it is a guidance. There is no doubt in it for those who are conscious. And then it mentions those who establish the prayer, establish the salat, and then spend out of what we have provided for them. Right away, if we know that there is an importance on salat, you have to know that there is an importance on our economic institutions, because that's exactly what that means. Those who spend out of what we have provided for them. That's our economic empowerment. But in that, I will say this. In that, God is telling us what is the foundation or the basis of us establishing our zakat, of establishing our salat. Is in there. And I'll read it again. Those who yu'minuna bil ghayb, who believe in the unseen, wa yuqimuna salat, and who establish the salat. Right away, we should have an understanding that what is the foundation of our salat is the Quran. Is the Quran. So when we are reciting the salat and we are lined up in rows, and in the front we have an imam, in the front of that salat we have an imam that is there leading us. We know that that person who is the imam that is there is only there because that person is representing what is most important in the life of the Muslims, and that is the Quran. You can't lead people as an imam following or being influenced by something else other than the Quran primarily. Now we know that there are other influences, but the primary and the most important and the first influence should be the Quran. And the insight into the fact that we have a person in front is letting us know what should be in front of our life as an individual, but more importantly, as a group, and it is God's communication. You have leaders all over the place. You have a mayor for the city of Milwaukee. You have a mayor for the city of Racine. Those are leaders, but those are not imams. Those are not people who you could have come in front of you and lead you in the salat. So the imam is only an imam if that imam has given his or her life to the Quran to lead you. Now, if there's a group of women, yes, you have a woman that comes up and leads the prayer. She's an imam too in that respect. For sure. And even in that case, if there's 10 women or 50 women and they just happen to be at a women's conference or whatever, and they're trying to establish a prayer, one of those women got to get up in the front and lead the prayer. And whoever you choose to be the person to lead the prayer should be the best among you in terms of Quranic or Islamic behavior formed around the Quran. That should be the thing here. So our salat that we have is really our practical expression of the Quran. Our practical expression of the Quran. Now, I'm saying it that way because of this. I'm saying it that way because of this. Let me just see if okay. I'm saying it that way because of this. In our 5 essentials of the religion, The first one is what we call the shahadatain. This first one, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. I witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah, and I witness that Muhammad is his messenger. Okay? And then there is the iqama salat, the establishment of the salat. And then after that, is atiyah zakat, giving the tax, the zakat. All of this is connected. But what our salat is the expression of our faith. You can say you have faith all you want, but as the book says, faith without actions is dead. Okay? And then there's another book that says actions without faith, this is in the Quran, actions without faith is like dust in the wind. It means it's like there's some substance. Your actions will have substance, but it's gonna dissipate like wind if you don't have any faith. The Bible says that faith without actions is dead. That's what the Bible says. So how, if a person is a Christian, can say that they have faith in God, or whoever they say that they have faith in, and then come back and say that I don't care about my actions? Oh, he died for my sins. He paid the price. No, he didn't pay the price for you to go out and drink Hennessy and get sloppy drunk and lose your life. He didn't. No, don't put that on him. That's all you. I used to tell some people, it was kind of humorous, but I used to tell some people sometimes people say, Jesus, take the wheel. And sometimes, you just got to let people know that no, he didn't take the wheel for you. He didn't take the wheel. He didn't take the wheel for you. not for your behaviors. No, he didn't take that wheel. No, we're not going to put that on him. So, yeah, we just have to be real with these things. For us, as I conclude, for us as Muslims, the Salat is an institution that is supposed to be to form not only the individual, but to form the group. The group, the community, the ummah should be formed around, or I should say should be formed by the Quran. That's what Salat is for. The group should be formed by the Quran. And if the group is completely obedient to God's word, then the group will produce giants, men and women, giants, men and women. So the importance of the Salat should never be underscored, or it should not be minimized, I should say. It should not be minimized. It should be seen as one of the most important things that we can do as a group or as a community of people, the establishment of our Salat. So that's there is so much more that we could give in regards to the prayer. But we got time that's nearing up on us. So let me pause and see if there are any closing remarks that anyone would like to give, or if someone may have a question that they would like to ask in regards to what is said or not said, and we can perhaps discuss those things. Anyone have any questions at all? Or no? Are we good?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
We good. You good?
All right. So here's my last thing here. And if someone does, just, you don't have to push the button or anything. Just just start speaking, and I can kind of come back to what I'm thinking here. Here's some things that we can think about. Something that we can keep on our minds. Okay. One, what makes consistency in our salat difficult? We don't have to answer it. These are just rhetorical questions. But just keep this on our mind. Maybe you can write this down if you want to. What makes consistency in our salat difficult? Okay. Two, how can Ramadan help repair weak prayer habits? How can Ramadan help repair weak prayer habits? Three, what practical steps improves our focus during Ramadan? This is what you were talking about before, Sister Jamila. What are some practical steps that we can use to improve our focus during the month of Ramadan? Okay. Those are some things that we can think about and some things that we can try to answer. But as we continue on and go through our month of Ramadan, or as our month of Ramadan goes through us, let's consider those things, make our intentions, and make or set some real attainable goals. And I keep harping on these things. Make some real attainable goals, or set some real attainable goals, regardless of how small they are. And let's have some happiness in the success of meeting those small goals. If the goal is for me to get up and make my Fajr prayer, set that as a goal. If you know that is a situation where it's a little difficult to kind of get up, then, but you have to prepare for that. You have to, if that's your intention, that is a goal. That is how your discipline is going to be set up. You have to prepare for that. So instead of setting one alarm on your phone, you might have to set the alarm on your phone, on your iPad, on your tablet, and you might have to have the TV turn on at a certain time, or whatever you need to do. Or you might have a clock that calls the adhan or something. You have to prepare for it. And then once you get in the habit, your body will actually automatically wake up at that time. Okay? But there has to be some preparation. There has to be an intent. There has to be a goal. And there has to be some discipline. And the discipline should be focused around making sure that we are in tune with the Quran. And in getting ourselves in tune with the Quran is firstly by making our salat. Reading the Quran and making our salat. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. So I'm going to stop there. Listen, I want to thank you all so much for being with us. I hope what we gave to you all was something that was helpful, inshallah.
Yes.
And if there are any questions, I mean, you all know how to get in contact with me, and we'll try to answer questions from there. The hope is that soon, not later, but soon, right here at 317 West Wright Street, Masjid Sultan Muhammad, aka number 3. Sound like I'm giving an advertisement. Right here at number 3, we'll have the setup where we are making our salat. We have to prepare for that. We have to make our intent for that. We have to have a goal and attainable goals for that. And then we have to have discipline to make sure that is done so that we can make our salat and be more in tune as a group with the Quran. And not just reading or reciting the Quran, but actually reading the Quran, studying it, and implementing it in our individual life and in our group life. So that is the goal. With that, we pray that you all have a beautiful evening, and that you all, if you haven't eaten any good food yet, that you're getting ready to eat some good food. And you can have a great evening. May Allah continue to bless you all.
All right.
All right.
Same with you.
With that, we leave you all as we came to you all in the spirit of peace, of Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Like our salam.
And give the greetings to my brother, Imam Shahid Abdul Ghani, for me.
Okay, I will.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, you all.
Alaikum assalam.